Welcome back to a Perfect Swing podcast where we connect the game of golf to confidence, leadership, and personal growth. My name is Ashaunta Epps. I am the CEO and founder of A Perfect Swing Inc., as well as an LPGA Top 50 Best Teacher. Today's episode is one that instantly elevates your experience in the game without even changing your swing. We're talking about golf etiquette 101, the rules nobody tells you about. Because here's the truth, you don't have to be the best golfer in the group to stand out, but you do need to know how to carry yourself on the course. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, one of the largest misconceptions in golf is that people are judging your skill. They're not. They're taking note of it. However, they're paying more attention to how you respect yourself, how you respect the game, how you treat others, how you handle yourself under pressure. Those are the key things. So, golf etiquette is really about awareness and consideration. And when you understand that, you walk onto the course with a different level of confidence. The key thing is that etiquette builds credibility before you first look. I'm going to repeat that again. The key thing is etiquette builds credibility before your first swing. Now, attire is critical. It's the first impression you make, so choose wisely. Now, the great thing is that with all the new colors and styles that are available, you can be creative. You can really show your personality, but you just got to adhere to the dress code. Of course, dress codes vary, so you want to make sure that you know what it is. You can check their website, you can call the pro shop, but you want to be aware because they do have the right to ask you to leave if you're in violation. The main thing to note is that anything that is jean attire, you want to avoid. For the women, if your shirt does not have a collar, you want to make sure it has sleeves on it. If it does not have sleeves, you want to make sure it has a collar on it, right? Same concept there. And you want to stay away from tank tops. For your bottoms, skirts, slacks, capris, all of those are okay. You want to pay attention to the length of them though, and especially the back area, because sometimes the way the material or the design of the bottom, it may show more of your rear area than you may be aware of. As for leggings, leggings is a bit of a gray area. So typically it's okay at municipal courses, but it's not typically okay at private or high-end courses. But again, ensuring that you're looking at the website as well as calling the pro shop with any questions that you may have. For my gentlemen, a collared shirt, slacks, shorts are acceptable. The thing to note, though, is that there are some country clubs that require long pants. So again, still following up, looking at the website, contacting the pro shop to get the appropriate information that you need. Also, another thing to note is that there are some athletic shirts now that have half collars, some of the quarter zips, and things of that sort. And those are acceptable as well. From a shoe perspective, so golf shoes, sneakers, tennis shoes, I would stay away from flip-flops or going barefoot, right? You should have on some shoes. That is typically a requirement as a part of playing on most courses. Now, some of the original golf shoes had metal spikes on the bottom of them. So you want to stay away from any metal spikes on the bottom of your shoes. So there are shoes that have spikes on them, but they're plastic. And then there are spikeless shoes, which are really nice as well, too. So you have a variety to choose from. But the key point to consider when you're thinking about what you're going to wear is that appropriate attire that reflects respect for yourself, because that is the first impression that people are going to have of you. Seems very simple, but it makes a big impression. And that is especially key in the business environment. Now, I want to answer one of the most common questions I get from beginners and newbies, and that is where to stand. Seems simple, but the thing to note is that in golf, it's a pretty solitude environment in that when someone is preparing to swing or to hit their ball, you want to stop moving. That is for their practice swings. That is if they're putting or on the tee box, any shot that they're looking to execute. So you want to be aware of that. And when you stop, you want to make sure that you're not standing in someone's line of sight and that you are 2 club lengths away from them. All right, so let's look at a picture of a golf course hole. So this is hole number 5, and you'll see that we have the tee box area here, and then we have the green above. Now, typically, each of the tee box colors will match. So this is red, this is blue. Typically, it's red, red, and then blue, blue. But for this exercise, I literally just stuck all the colors here, just so you're aware that this pertains to every tee box. So the white circle is the ball. So if a player is standing up, preparing to swing, and this is their ball, there's an imaginary line from that ball forward through the green to infinity, and then all the way back to infinity. You do not want to stand on that line. So you shouldn't be standing directly behind someone, okay? The best place to stand in this situation, see, here's the cart path. It's off the tee box in the grass area between there and the cart path, all right? So you want to make sure you're not on anyone's line. Other thing is, again, that pertains to the green. So if this is the ball of the person that is putting, there's an imaginary line from infinity forward to infinity backwards, okay? So you don't want to stand on that line. Note, you don't want to stand directly behind them. And even on the other side of the flag, you don't want to stand in that line on the other side of the flag. You want to stand to the sides, okay? Another thing, this is not pertaining to standing, but some course etiquette as it pertains to the green that you want to be aware of is there's an imaginary line from everyone's ball on the green to the hole. So a line from every ball to the hole. You do not want to step in that line. So if this player puts their ball and it lands here, they should not walk through this player's line. They should walk around them to mark or to finish up. Okay? So when we think about stillness, really what that is equating to in golf is respect. You're respecting the player. Seems really small, but it makes a huge impression. Now, golf is relatively a quiet game, and timing matters. With that being said, you don't want to talk while someone's swinging or they're getting ready to hit. So at the same time that you stop moving, you want to stop talking. That noise, talking, and stopping it also includes rattling your snack wrappers or opening a box, trying to maybe get balls, or unzipping your bag, trying to do some other kind of household things. You want to terminate all noise of any sort. When you're out playing, you want to keep the conversation low and respectful. It's okay to use your inside voice, okay? And then as it pertains to providing feedback, whether it's encouragement and cheering for a player, you want to make sure that the shot is finished, meaning the results have happened. When they hit it, say if it's a putt, when they hit it, before you respond, you want the putt to drop in the hole, okay? If it's a tee shot, when they tee off, you want to wait until the ball hits the ground and stop moving before you provide your feedback, whether it's good shot or that's chipping a putt, easy peasy, right? Those types of things you want to make sure that the shot is actually finished. And, one thing that I think we don't always say out loud. It's ideal to put your cell phone away while you're out on the course. If you're checking messages or taking calls while others are playing, it kind of signals that you're disengaged. And when we talk about etiquette and presence and engagement and networking and fellowship for golf, your presence, that's a part of your etiquette. So you want to be aware of that. The next thing I want to talk about is like the number one unspoken yet spoken, debated, talked about rule of golf, which is pace of play. It's critical, and it's something that has been a topic of conversation a lot. And needless to say, I agree with the conversation and to have the conversation because it's important. And especially as beginners, because you want to know how fast you need to move. You want to know that you are adhering to those requirements of being out on the course because you don't want it to be awkward. And so if you don't know or we don't talk about it, it's a for sure that you won't know about it. So if there's one thing that impacts everyone on the course, I want you to know that it's pace of play. Pace is defined by the group in the front of you, period. I don't care if there is an army standing behind you. If you are right behind the group in the front of you, there is nothing you can do and there is nowhere you can go because you are right behind the group in the front of you. Now, when I say right behind the group in the front of you, for example, if you're at a par 4 and you come to the tee box, if the group is on the green, you're relatively safe. You should be, ready to tee off. And I use that because there are some people now who can actually reach the green relatively closely on a par 4. So giving some leeway there. On a par 5, you should be in the middle of the fairway if that group ahead of you is on the green. If you get to a par 3 and there is no one there, you want to pick it up. That means you're a little behind. Okay. Now, some of the things you can do to make sure that you kind of keep up with pace, be ready when it's your turn. There's an adjustment to the rules of golf called ready golf. Now, typically in golf, the person that's farthest away from the hole goes first. But in ready golf, if you're ready, you hit. Now, that does not negate safety and that does not negate consideration. But so again, being ready and playing ready golf is critical. Limit practice swings to two practice swings. And you can do that by building that into your pre-shot routine. So when you're at the range and you're developing your pre-shot routine, ensure that that pre-shot routine has 2 swings, and literally 15 to 20 seconds is a lot of time, but no more than that, so that you can keep it moving. And when you're walking around the course, you want to walk with purpose. Give yourself a bit of a swifter pace. I'm of the belief that you shouldn't rush your shot. So you should always do your pre-shot routine. You should always do that thing that prepares you for the swing. You should always choose the appropriate club. However, when you're not swinging, you should be walking. You should be analyzing where your ball is. You should be getting numbers. All of those things matter as you move around the course. And, the thing that I really want to put into perspective for us is based on the rules of golf, if you lose a ball, you get 3 minutes to look for it. And that is once you get there. That's a lot of time. So let's take, for instance, as me, a part of a rules team, typically a foursome gets 10 minutes to play a par 3, 15 minutes to play a par 4 or 5. Okay. If you are 1 minute off of that for every hole, that's 18 minutes. That is almost 2 holes. That's almost 2 par 3s because a par 3 is 10 minutes, right? Well, if you're off by 1 minute and then you take 3 minutes to find a ball, you are easily falling off a pace very, very quickly. And it can happen in the blink of an eye. So I want you to be aware of that. So, if you're playing or when you're playing in your groups, that 10-minute, 15-minute marker is a really good mark. However, the key is that you want to stay as close to the group in the front of you as possible without endangering them. But to note that if you lose a ball and you have to spend time looking for a ball, once you find that ball or you take the drop and you start playing, you have to pick it up because you have to go back and catch that group in the front of you. That is the critical piece. Okay. So when you're out there, don't worry about being perfect. Worry about being efficient, that you are moving. You're, again, thinking about the game before your shot, getting to where you need to be so that you're ready when the time comes. And just note the key point about pace of play is really, it goes back to the respect. Respecting time is one of the highest forms of etiquette in golf. So that becomes critical. Another critical piece that I would say is taking care of the course. Golf courses are meant to be played, but also protected. They're nice because of the things that are done to manage and protect the course. Okay? Now, what that means, you want to repair ball marks on the green. You'll use a divot tool for that. I will tell you, many people execute this task wrong. So you want to ensure that you learn how to do it correctly. You want to replace and fill your divots. So that is if you're hitting a ball in the fairway and when you hit a piece of grass or some of the earth comes up, you want to take that back and put it in the spot. So you want to find the piece that came out and put it back in the spot. But nonetheless, you also want to ensure that you use the divot mix that is typically provided on the side of the cart. So you may notice that there are clear jugs of what looks like sand, but divot mix on the side of your carts. Use that to fill in the divot completely. So you want to make sure you also get the edges. And that is to cover the roots so that the grass will grow back and the sun doesn't have an opportunity to burn it. Okay. Rake your bunkers. So the sand bunkers, sand traps, however you like to call them. Make sure you rake those after you hit your ball. Again, ensuring that you're leaving the course prepared for the player behind you. And one rule of golf, as we'll talk about in another segment, you cannot ground your club in the bunker. So when you put your club on the sand in the bunker, you should actually be taking your intentional shot at that time. But we'll talk about that later in another episode. Another thing, too, is you want to avoid unnecessary damage with carts or to the course. So you want to stay on the cart path around all the tee boxes and greens. And that includes all 4 tires. Oftentimes we pull up to the tee box. We have 2 tires on the grass. A tire on the grass is actually wearing down the grass. So you can see where everyone parks there. And that's wearing down the grass. You want to keep all 4 tires on the cart path around the tee box and the greens. You want to drive the carts cautious on hills to ensure, you avoid any accidents, if at all possible there. Also, you don't want to drive within 30 yards of the green or close to the lip of the outside of a bunker or sand trap. Etiquette, safety reasons in both of those as well. Okay. And overall, think of it this way. You're not playing the course. You're preserving it for the next person. So that's the etiquette piece. And the key point, you want to leave every space better than you found it. So if you're repairing a ball mark and you see one that someone else didn't, whether they missed it, repair it for them. Repair 1 or 2 along with yours. Keeps the course nice and you continue to play. Another thing I want to talk about is the social game. Golf is absolutely social and is critical in how you treat other people. And that matters. That matters in whether you get invited back. That matters in whether people like to play with you. Lots of different things on that one. A few simple guidelines I'd like to share. One, celebrate good shots, yours and theirs. But if it's not good, a nod, a that's okay. Or if you could share something good about what transpired, then it's good. For example, it may have been really long, but it went off to the left or the right. We know that. We could see that it did not go straight. But if you want to give them some encouragement, something like, that was really long. That was nice and long. Once you straighten that up, you're going to be golden, right? And if it's a good shot, say good shot. Don't try to create or make up a celebration because we know it. You can feel when you're getting, when someone's really leading you on. I'll leave it at that. Another thing that is 100% critical is do not offer advice unless asked. You want to be encouraging, not critical. And one of the rules of being a good cart partner is watch the ball of your playing partner. See where it lands. That allows them to find it a little quicker, keeps the pace moving as well. Another thing that is so many critical pieces that is critical is manage your emotions. Everyone hits bad shots. How you respond says more than the shot itself. So you want to manage your emotions. Now, when we talk about respecting players, another hot topic outside of pace of play is music. So I must address the music issue. Now, Bono, the musician, says music can change the world because it can change people. And I think we also know that music is the window to the soul. So everyone has different reactions to music, whether it's a song that a deceased spouse shared with you, or it's a song that brings up emotions about any other aspect of your life, be it happy or sad. That happens. And so we want to be cognizant of that. So if you ask someone if it's okay that you play music and they ask that you not, don't always take it personal. Maybe there is something connected to music with them that will affect their golf game. So give them the grace of saying, okay, understandable. And the great thing is you can still enjoy your music. You can pop in one earbud. You have the music on one side, and then you can still hear the conversation that's going on the other side. So again, I think we want to normalize respecting people's preferences and not judging them because everyone sees things differently, and it's okay. That is what makes us who we are. When you think about that, the bottom line is your attitude is really a part of your etiquette. It's just that simple. So listen, if you're new to the game, etiquette can feel overwhelming. But here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to know everything. You just need to be aware, respectful, and open to learning. That translates back to that growth mindset. Most golfers will appreciate effort over perfection. And when you show that you care about the game, you'll be welcomed into it. They'll be happy to have you back. So just know, etiquette isn't about fear, it's about belonging. I'm going to say that one more time. Etiquette is not about fear. It's about belonging. So again, understanding what it takes to assimilate to the environment. So now in closing, if you take one thing from today's episode, let it be this. Golf etiquette isn't about rules. It's about respect, awareness, and presence. And when you understand that, you don't just play the game, you become a part of it. If this episode helped you feel more confident, share it with someone who's stepping into golf for the first time or need an etiquette confidence boost. And as always, keep showing up. Keep learning and trusting your process. Until next time, happy golfing.